Hi everyone, it's Keyless Entry. Today I've got this Assa Twin. This one's a V10. Assa Twin V10. So this is a sidebar lock, and it's got twin bitting. So the top bitting here is a pin tumbler, a bitting with standard key pins and Assa barrel spools with matched countermilling in the plug chambers. And then we got the sidebar bitting there, as you can see. So we got two medium highs, a very low, a high, and then another medium high down the back. So this is a black belt lock, and this is my number 2 lock to get my black belt, with the first one being the Assa 700, which was also a tricky pick. So this one is in a Mogul format. And from my understanding, they were used in the penitentiary system, so in prisons and jails and that sort of thing. So it's quite a big format. I'll just get a normal Lockwood cylinder here, like a standard size one, and you can just see the difference. The Lockwood just looks like a little baby compared to this beast here. Alright, so that's the keyway there. So the pin tumbler component is sort of to the right up here. You can see the first pin there, and then you've got the side pins on the bottom left, just like on the key there. So all works fine, as you can see. Works very nicely. All right, let's get into the vise and give it a pick. All right, make sure that's in there nice and solid. There we go. All right, so I'll be using a 1mm top of the keyway tension bar, and for the pin tumbler version, like the main stack, I'll be using the B-shoe and the lockout buster from Lock Tools in 19,000ths, and for the side pins I'll be using a Dongshi, honest Dongshi flag, just a flat flag that I've cleaned up a little bit. Alright, so I'll be using medium tension. Just make sure I'm in shot here. Medium tension, and let's give it a pick. So I'll start off with the B-shoe and see how I go, because there is quite a low lift on 3, and then 4 is quite a high lift behind it. That always gives me a bit of trouble. So that's 4 there. I think he's set now. A couple of little clicks. 5. Okay, got a click out of 6. Here's a low lift as well. Okay, 1. Got a little bit of core movement there. Another click out of 1. Another little click. I think he's gone past the counter milling. Okay, 2 is binding now. Some clicks out of 2. I think 2's set now. Okay, 3's dropped. Okay, just touched 3. Now we've got, seems like we're in a bit of a, on 4. Seems like we've got some decent core movement there. It's not decent, it's only very slight, but it's all you really get with these spools. They're very shallow spools. They've got nasty thin lips on them that really catch on the counter milling in the plug. Another click off 1. I think 2 is set. 3. Yeah, I believe 2 is set. So I'm just going to try the side pins to see if they bind. Okay, 1 is sort of binding. A little click out of that one. 2 is also binding. Got a little click out of him. Okay, felt that in my tensioner. Sort of pop into place. 3 is really low, basically a no lift. Just check these again. 2, 3, trouble getting under 4 here, I think. Okay, 5 down the back, nothing. Okay, 4 is binding. Okay, got to click out of 4 there. Feels like 1 is binding again. Okay, got to click out of 1. 2 needs to go up higher too, I think. There we go. So I can actually feel that in my tensioner. It's very, very slight. I'm not sure about 4 at this point. I just need to go to 5. Okay, just touched 5 and felt a little bit more movement in the tensioner. 5 is now binding. Okay, got a little bit of movement there. One feels good. I think 2's dropped a little bit. No, 2's good. 3. Okay, I think it might be 4. Okay, got 4. 1. 2, 3, 4. It feels like 5 is binding now. Oh, and we got an open. Nice. Alrighty. Okay, so I've got to keep this in shot because I'll be using this for my black belt application, so everything's got to stay in frame. Alright, so you can clearly see that it is open. See the cam moving there. Alright, I'm just going to lock it back up. There we go. Alright, just get my gutting tools out. So I'll get all the picks away to one side. Alright, so this does have grub screws through the top, but they go in a very, very long way. It's a long process, so I'm going to try to gut it through the back. Oops. Okay, nice long cam piece, tail piece there. Right, so now I'm going to insert the key. I'm going to rotate it to the left because all this sidebar is on the right hand side, so I don't want the main stack to get involved in that at all. So I'm using a shim just in case. A little bit tight in there. This lock's got great tolerances. Okay, so now I've got to catch the sidebar when this pops out. Make sure to put my finger over it. There we go, and should get everything. There we go, nice. Shim came out with it. Right, so can't actually take the key out at this point and can't remove that because that's sort of attached to the key. It won't come out. So there's the sidebar there, as you can see. So it is springy, so that retracts into the plug and allows you to spin the core, as long as you've got all these pins up to shear line as well. All right, I'm just going to dump out the sidebar here and these springs. There we go. Just going to place this in here for a second. Make sure everything stays in shot. Alright, so we've got the sidebar there. We'll bring this up to the camera for a close-up too, but the bitting of the sidebar is determined by the actual notches in the sidebar. So all the side pins are identical. Alright, let's get the springs next to the sidebar. Get rid of that shim. Let's get rid of this guy. Alright, I'm just going to dump the key pins now, which are all standard. 2, 3, 4, 6. Just tidy these up a little bit. There we go. And now I'm just going to get the side pins out. I'm just going to retract the key. Right, they should pop out one at a time. So all these are the same, so it doesn't really matter which order I put them in. And last one. So now I can retract the key, and this front plate will come off, just attaches like that. Alright, I'm just going to dump out the side pin springs. So there's the plug there. So I'm not sure if you can make it out here right now. It's got counter milling in all 6 chambers, and that is very, very grabby. It's almost like threading in a challenge lock. Let me get a pick. Very, very grabby. So that milling catches on the spools, which I'll pull out in a minute. Oh, and that's where the sidebar sits, and the side pins and springs fit in there. I will be showing all of this in the close-up as well. All right, let's get the drivers out. Yep, first one comes flying out. So the pin tumbler component has got a balanced stack. So for short key pins, you got longer drivers and vice versa. So that's very nice to see. I think most, if not all, Assas are like that. Just a great quality lock. Okay, springs. Okay. And are we missing a spring? Or did I flick it? No, there it is. There we go. So we've got everything there. Just show you the housing here, so you can see the little slot for the sidebar in the housing there. Probably see a little bit better from the back. There we go. So that's what when the sidebar is not retracted into the plug, that's that groove there. That's where the sidebar sits and prevents you from turning the plug. All right. Let me just bring all this up to the camera a little bit. Just make sure I keep everything in shot. Right. Folks. Okay, there we go. And there's the lock body there. Right, let's get some focus. Might zoom in a touch. There we go. So the plugs here, so you can see the counter milling. Almost looks like threading from a challenge lock. That's what it feels like when you're picking the lock. And that's where the side pins fit into, and the springs, and that's where the sidebar sits in there. Close up of the sidebar. There we go, there's the sidebar there. So it does have a sort of like a V profile, and then you can see the slots on this side. You've got different heights of the slots, and that's where the side pins interact with. So all the side pins are the same. You can see there. So we've got one true gate and false gates or serrations. There's two below and one above, and they are all identical. As you can see there, all the same. And then for the pin tumbler part, you got these Assa barrel spools, which are very, very tricky with these very sharp lips on the end, and they really do catch on that milling. Really, really nasty actually. They're really grabby. Yeah, very, very tricky lock to pick. I have invested some time into this lock, so yeah, it's not every day that I can open it like that. Some days it takes me 5 minutes, some days it takes me half an hour. So alrighty, that's it for me. That was the Assa Twin V10. I'll see you everyone next time. Take care.